What is going on? Dun, dun, dun. Bum, 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 bum. I can't see the video.
Yeah, because it's black screen, dude.
Oh, there we go. All right. And woo! It is
I cannot wait till you have a working computer. Oh my god.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Hopefully
yeah, because you chopped off the beautiful new countdown. You cut off like a second and a half of it. So.
Oh, really? I was past this. I was done with it. That's
yeah. Well, clearly. I mean, then you cut it off. It was amazing.
I'll have to work on that. Welcome to the Humpty Dump. Luckily, there's not many people probably watching because there's other massive streams going on right now, but the dedicated ones are. So thank you for being here. My name is Scott. This is Sparky News Podcast, and tonight we have Makani90 with us. How you doing, Makani?
I'm doing good, and considering the times we're going today, I may not be holding back on this one.
You don't have to. You don't have to, buddy.
I'm going to bring out my dark side on this one. I'm going to.
You're allowed to. You're allowed to, man. God, let it happen. So now, did you change, Etep, did you change the name of your channel or something?
No, I just am the Fandom Menace People's Champion. That's just who I am. That's who I'm representing, all the little people down here. If the Fandom Menace is Coruscant and, you know, all the senators and everybody are up top, I'm down in the bottom at the bar selling death sticks. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm the people's champion down there, man. We're holding it down for the people.
All right. I like it. I like it. Well, Etep has a stream coming up a little later tonight, so he's going to be with us for about an hour, not even. So we'll get into it kind of quick, but make sure you guys check out his stream and sub to his channel to get him past 440, right?
Yes, 440? Yes. We're 439 right now. Etep will to be reviews. Tonight we have Going in Rogue at 8:30 Eastern.
Going in Rogue. I like it.
Sounds kind of
dirty. And between the brothers, we have, well, you're last tonight because you are the culture. So up first is Nick McCabe of the McCabe Brothers. How are you doing, Nick?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. And working on anything fun?
No, I've been very lazy, actually. I've got so many irons in the fire, but it's choosing what to put out next. It's difficult.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with YouTube. If you don't put out stuff, though, you never grow. I'm learning that since I hit past 1,000. I got to put out more videos. Sam, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, Scott. It's great to see you. Great to see you all. Great to see everyone in the chat. Time Prophet says fair dinkum, Sam and Nick. Yeah, fair dinkum. That's right. That's about right. I'm trying to work on some new short form content for my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. That would be great. Much appreciated. Subscribe to everyone on the panel as well. That would be awesome. They're all awesome people. And yeah, that's it. That's my little plug done.
Well, thank you, Sam. And last but not least, he is the hair of the fourth wave, definitely, I say, of the Fandom Menace, Culture Casino.
Hey, so what's going on, everybody? Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for being here this evening. We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to watching things on YouTube, and if you're catching us on the replay, which hopefully many of you are, thank you very much for being here and supporting Scott, even though there's a massive stream going on elsewhere that, we're up against. But it's beautiful. We're good. And I'm very excited to be here tonight. Thank you all for joining us. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And let's get right into it, guys. I want Etep to hit up on this first article. And Culture, you can start it anytime you are ready.
All right, here we go. This Variety article comes to you from Adam B. Very, an author there of many things, including this particular article, which is How a Lucasfilm Exec's Tweet Reopened the Wounds of The Last Jedi. Lucasfilm's Pablo Hidalgo apologized for tweeting "Emotions are not to be shared" in a thread about a Star Wars fan's emotional reaction to The Mandalorian. But the damage had been done.
Yes. Was that an apology? Was it? I guess we're going to read about it, but I just want a quick answer from Makini because I know he's fired up. Is it an apology, or was it supposed to be taken as sarcasm, his first tweet? What do you think?
Okay, so this just to kind of continue what I was saying I guess I can further explain what I was saying in my video. No, this is not an apology. This is a non-apology. In fact, this sounds more like a backhanded insult, and if you really think about it.
Well, let's get into it and see what was said, and we'll talk on that in a minute. Culture, what was said?
Well, okay, from the article, on December 17th, a popular Star Wars YouTuber joined roughly 30,000 fans as he live streamed his reaction to the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. The YouTuber, who most often goes by the name of his account, Star Wars Theory, and has also been referred to as Twos in some press reports, watched mostly in concentrated silence during the first 30 minutes of the episode. But when a Telltale X-Wing fighter cruised into view, he jumped up in his seat as a childlike grin washed over his face. "Don't give me hope, bro," he said to no one in particular. Roughly a minute later, when he saw a cloaked, hooded figure wielding a green lightsaber appear, Twos burst out into tears. Certainly, of what the episode later confirmed, it was Luke Skywalker.
Tell me, go ahead. Someone tell me how they felt when I'm not the biggest Mandalorian fan, but I did enjoy seeing Luke kick some butt. How did you guys feel about that part?
I marked out, man. I basically had the same reaction Star Wars Theory did because I've been waiting since 1983 to see that Luke Skywalker again, and getting it now. Like I said, I watched Return of the Jedi in the theater as a kid, and I was, just awestruck in that moment. And it's just, it really did bring back some of those emotions, and it was done really well. The face technology could have been a little bit better, but it was great having Mark Hamill's voice behind it, and it was a very visceral, emotional moment for people who live and breathe Star Wars, man. And yeah, I can understand where Star Wars Theory was coming from, because like I said, I basically had reacted the same way.
Anybody else?
I saw it, and I probably didn't have that strong of a moment as people like Drunk or Mark with a C or Lord Callus or a lot of the other people, and especially Star Wars Theory. But you can't deny just how much power and gravitas seeing the Luke that we wanted ever since Return of the Jedi, ever since the Luke that we should have gotten during the Disney trilogy.
And I agree with you on that, Makini. I like I said, I'm not a fan of The Mandalorian. I watch it to do reviews and talk about it on live streams. But I have to admit, at that moment where I saw the X-Wing, I knew who it was. And the little kid in me got excited because just like you just said, just like Etep just said, I mean, I saw Return of the Jedi also in the movie theaters. I remember it clearly. And since then, you always wanted to know, what did Luke do? Now, I was an EU guy, so I didn't get to follow his journeys in the EU. I wish I got involved earlier with that. But this was the first time on film we see Luke Skywalker Jedi Master, a true Jedi Master, 9 years after he fights with his father. 9 years of meditation and training and learning and looking for different Jedi temples and different Jedi information. Like, he used so many powers in that one, walk from his X-Wing to the door. It was dope to see. I just lost it when they showed me the face. I actually was hoping it'd be a young, a young actor playing Luke Skywalker, not, the old Hamill with the young face. I didn't enjoy that. But Nick or Sam, what did you guys think of it?
We don't actually have Disney Plus anymore, so we haven't actually seen it. We've only seen it by proxy for the spoilers. Right. We're coming from a position of shall we say, we're somewhat detached. But I can completely understand how excited people are for this to happen. But I'm a big believer in canon, and given where Luke is going, I can't help but feel that twinge of disappointment, if you understand what I mean. But no, I completely understand, and I completely understand why people are so excited, and I would never judge someone for getting that excited at all.
Right. Well, and I'll be honest, I won't judge them. Now, if someone does that, oh my God, reaction and gets all, I might make fun of them a little bit, but I'll never judge them for enjoying what they enjoy.
Yeah, friendly ribbing's fine.
Yeah, friendly ribbon. You guys don't have it, so I understand that, but you both agree with that? Is that your take?
Largely. But until I hear someone like Kathleen Kennedy or whoever the head of Lucasfilm is at the moment actually throw the sequel trilogy in the trash and say, you know what, we're going to do it the right way, I'm going to remain cautious.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Culture? You're reading the article, but what did you get in?
I already had I had some rumors hit me for a while from different sources that I couldn't corroborate in any way that this was actually going to occur. So, I held my breath a little bit, knowing that it could have gone down one of three ways. It went down the best possible way, with the single X-Wing entering, which clearly had a very famous droid loaded up in the back. So it's pretty clear what was happening. So, it was fine. I mean, again, like so many, including probably Gary from, Nerdrotic and many others. I mean, Star Wars kind of died to me already. So, I'm watching these shows just to, hope that maybe it's revived. Maybe it was on life support. I just didn't realize it.
I agree with Culture on that one.
Yeah.
I saw this tweet on Twitter where I think the fandom is basically divided into sort of three groups. One group is Star Wars is completely dead. Yep. The second group is sort of the middle ground, where they're not hardcore fans, but they're sort of waiting for something good,
Right.
And then you get the third ones, and they're just the weirdos who absolutely adore the sequel trilogy, and who are pretty much tonguing the arse of Kathleen Kennedy.
Right.
The Raylos.
Yeah, the Raylos.
The Raylos.
Oh, I just got a 999th sub or follower on Twitter. I didn't even know I was near that. Thanks, buddy. Darren, like my father before me. I agree with you guys. You got the Raylos.
Yeah,
you got the people in the
middle.
Yeah, in the middle somewhere.
We're sort of in the middle. We're not hardcore fans. Star Wars isn't yet dead to us, but we're sort of hesitant at the moment.
Well, see, I'm at the place where I feel like Star Wars is dead. I'm a little more towards the dead side and don't have a lot of feelings, like kind of what Culture is saying, but I wouldn't be sad to see it revive in a way that we all can enjoy it again. Culture,
there's a door open to that, and we can certainly talk about it at some point. This probably isn't the stream for it, but all right, I will continue on. This should be enjoyable for some.
Everybody.
For the next 15 minutes, Twos wept as the episode unfolded. When it was over, he seemed slightly embarrassed, but mostly in dumbstruck awe at the deep feelings the episode had evoked in him. "Thank you, Lucasfilm," he said, still wiping back tears. "This was what the little 6-year-old in me wanted to see." 10 days later, Twos had a different sentiment entirely for Lucasfilm, exposing, once again, the delicate and precarious relationship between the studio and its most vocal fans. And at a moment when it seemed like Lucasfilm and Disney had put the worst of Star Wars fan unrest behind them. Well, of course. Twos posted to Twitter that he'd noticed that Pablo Hidalgo, a top executive in Lucasfilm's story department, was commenting on a thread that was ridiculing Two's emotional reaction and to Luke Skywalker's appearance on The Mandalorian. Because Hidalgo's account was private, however, Two's couldn't see what the exec was saying. I'd hate to believe he would join in the teasing as a Lucasfilm official, Two's tweeted to his 101,000 followers, asking anyone with access to Hidalgo's account to send him a screenshot of his tweets. That's when he learned what Hidalgo tweeted. Emotions are not for sharing. Two's was outraged, interpreting Hidalgo's remark. See, this is bullshit. That word there.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
Right. No. Say it, Culture. Because it is.
No. I mean, this is interpreting. No, there's nothing to interpret. This was a direct statement. Emotions are not for sharing.
Yep.
How else do you interpret that, you boneheads? But anyway, we'll keep going.
I think that can be read as those emotions are not to be shared. I'm in my mind, translating it as love for the OT.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, see what I got it as, and this is also on a thread making fun of Star Wars Theory,
right?
Who was one of the truest fans out there. The guy is a diehard, doesn't a lot of the times doesn't ever speak badly about Lucasfilms, and this guy, it's not him thinking, he's assuming it's about him. It's definitely about him, and this writer is trying to twist that a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Can I just ask a quick question? Sorry.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Has he put it about? I might be misremembering, but do correct me, please. But has he put it about that it was a joke?
He said it was sarcasm way after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay, because in my experience, it was a joke is usually what people say, something people say when they've been caught out.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, that whole, it's a joke thing. That's like what Michael Richards said, after his racist tirade on stage at the Laugh Factory or wherever that, what I mean? It was a joke. It was
it's just something that people say when they've been called out.
Yep. You said exactly what you meant to say. You said it. You said it. It's out there in the ether. You can't pull it back. You can't sugarcoat that shit. That's the truth. Don't care where you sit.
I'm sorry to all present, but it really boils my piss when people don't say what they mean.
Yeah.
Right. I'm with you on that.
Passive-aggressive approach, which is
exactly. What bothers me even more, and I'm going to ask Makani, because I know you want to talk on this. What bothers me even more is that this is somebody who has defended Lucasfilm, and even after defending them for the past 4 years, this jackass Pablo attacks him and makes fun of him. How can you do that to a guy who has defended you guys and taken a lot of shit for it? How can you do that? And it's not like he's a little YouTuber. This kid is known. This guy is known throughout YouTube and outside of YouTube in Star Wars fandom. I don't know, Makani, what do you think?
Okay, and to also I want to give just some clarification to those who don't know. Pablo was replying to a tweet thread that I went and I'm quoting here. If you feel compelled to have an emotional reaction to Star Wars, by all means have one. Hell, I almost cried at Crate in the theater, and I've never cried at a movie in my life. But don't artificially recreate that shit for your millions of followers. That was from the thread it was coming from. Now, okay, it's fine, whatever you have your opinion, but I disagree because from what I saw in that clip of Star Wars Theory's reactions on YouTube right now, that was a very genuine reaction to that.
Oh yeah, he's not.
Yeah, this whole emotions are not for sharing and all that. No.
Let me ask Culture. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but let me ask Culture. Isn't this one of those people, Hidalgo, that wants to divide everybody into categories and
absolutely,
check people's pronouns, but yet a man can't get emotional.
Oh yeah, this is a pure male feminist SJW type human being. His thoughts are, we have to destroy Western canon, and he's on the side of no more white male leads in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's a whole other story. I'm sure we could get into.
Right.
But you know what? He's actually calling the dude out as disingenuous on top of many other things. But this isn't the first time he's gone off the rails in conversations on Twitter about people in the fandom and people who are critical of the way Star Wars and especially Luke Skywalker has been portrayed. Here's the thing. They don't like the fact that he is Star Wars. Luke Skywalker is Star Wars. There is nothing you can do about it. And when you destroy a character, which again, Kathleen Kennedy is going to try to do once more, guys, just be prepared. Mm-hmm. You're not hiding it. It's blatant. And that's what all these people are doing. We are now in a position where these people all believe they're untouchable. And I tell you what, when the investors when they wisen up, things will be quite different because Disney's not going to be able to sell the idea that streaming is going to save the company, because you have to just pay attention to the fact that they will not make a dime of profit on Disney Plus specifically until sometime in 2024. And at best, across all their streaming platforms, they will not make a dime of profit on streaming until 2023. At the earliest. So consider that and think how long Hulu has been running. ESPN Plus has been a thing. Think about all these other ways that they stream content, and none of them have generated $1 in profit. They're nothing but money going out the door. So they bring in a lot of money, but they're not bringing in the money to replace the money that's been spent on them, is being spent on them, or anything like that. And last thing to consider for investors, between now and 2024, Disney intends to spend $16 billion on streaming content.
Well, that's between all the Star Wars and Marvel shows they've got going. And that's only those two IPs. I mean, you've got all their other regular Disney stuff too. That's an insane amount of money.
Well, if you look at what you look at all the other stuff, ETEP, it's fallen on the wayside. Everything else, they announced 10. This is funny. They announced 10 Star Wars things, 4 of which are not even close to being into production yet. In fact, they were they were surprising people that these were going to be announced at Investor Day. Yeah. And they announced 10 Marvel things, 4 of which are nowhere close to production. You see a pattern here. And then and they only have 6 things coming out of Pixar. They only have 6 things coming out of Walt Disney Studios. So so what they really have is 6 things in each of these categories. But here's the thing. Acolyte is the only way Acolyte gets made. And I've heard this reiterated by many other folks. And I'm of the same understanding. The only way Acolyte gets made is if it is completely driven by KK the entire time. So she is going to try to maintain some form of a position in Lucasfilm, with it looks like a soft contract extension to begin with, but she will have her name. And this is the thing that Tom and I have been discussing for a while and trying to make sure everybody understood. Her name's going to be on Lucasfilm properties for at least a decade. And you can never scrub her name off of the films. No. I mean, I guess you could. I mean, look at what they're doing to Sound of Music and many other things. Well, hell, they won't even release, one of the best arguments against racism and everything that happened in the Song of the South.
Yep.
Yeah, right. But it's just one of those things. So this is a bad dude. I mean, as far as, here's the thing. If you're a good human, you're good to all other humans. Yeah. This is not a good human to any other human, except for if you agree with him. Well, that's just not the way we're supposed to be wired in this country, or even, in any form of fandom. So like what you like, you love what you love, but ridiculing someone else, that's a little rough unless you have reason to,
Exactly. And I find it slightly ironic that you get all these people saying that, people should share their emotions more. People should share themselves more. Right. And I think to myself, it's somewhat amusing, because when you look at it, if these people had an ounce of integrity, what they really mean to say is share a very narrow range of approved emotions.
For approved class. for an improved class.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to get at, my friend. That's what I was trying to get at.
Just to circle back to the article culture, because you made this point earlier as you were talking. To say nothing of whether or not this chap was doing it for clicks, I would argue is not the point. That's simply an attack on motive. The point is what Mr. Hidalgo is doing is unprofessional in the extreme.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
He's dumping on somebody for, sharing their love of a product that comes from the company that employs him.
Yes, exactly.
He's shitting on him for that. It's like, you came to my restaurant, you loved your meal. Well, go piss off then. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Right.
Motives notwithstanding, that's unprofessional.
Absolutely.
Into what they're saying is, I disagree that it might be. No, it's genuine, because this is Star Wars theory.
Too.
This is one of the biggest. Let me continue. This is one of the biggest Star Wars fans out there. His channel is bigger than the official Star Wars YouTube channel.
Right.
He is a survivor of childhood cancer. Luke was his hero throughout the entire process.
Yep.
This man put everything. He came out of his own money to put together a Vader fan film that got demonetized or got copyright by Lucasfilm, and there was a big push, not just a big push just from his fan base, but from the Phantom Menace as well. We all pushed to make it so that he could get his Vader fan film monetized, and that was nothing but pure love and passion for what he has. And he has more, and there's more of that in him than I ever see from the so-called lore specialist.
Yep.
From someone who's been there for 10 years. For someone who's worked with George Lucas personally.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way real quick. This is a guy who I might not agree with what his views on Star Wars.
Exactly.
He has single-handedly kept Star Wars in the positive side. Many of us, I'm sorry, I'm negative about Star Wars. I am, because it makes me sick what they've done with it. But this guy loves the purity of whatever they're showing. He enjoys whatever they put out there. If it's close enough to canon, or he can explain why he feels they did it, he's gonna love it. And that's his thing. He is not a fake. He seems like a genuine guy who just loves Star Wars. And for somebody who works for Lucasfilms to attack the positive person, it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter what you say. It matters to these people how you look. He's a white male who got emotional about Luke. They don't like Luke. They don't like white males. And they made fun of him for it. That's the truth. Okay, that's my truth for it. And I don't want, YouTube taking down the stream for me saying that. But I speculate that that's the truth. And it makes me sick, because the guy has fought, and he has taken a lot of shit for the love he has for Star Wars. Let's read a little bit more of this article, and then we can rip it apart some more.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. I'm trying to figure out where I left off. Craptastic. Okay. So I left off here, and we'll keep going. That's when he learned what Hidalgo tweeted. Emotions are not for sharing. Tuz was outraged, interpreting Hidalgo's remark as indeed piling on the mockery of his genuine emotions. By that point, Hidalgo had deleted the tweet. Well, of course he had. He's a fucking coward. But rather inexplicably, he also put a screenshot of it as the banner over his account. What a douchebag. Tuz took it more trolling. Of course it was. You're telling people it's not okay to have emotions about the work your company produces, and you make fun of them for crying, he tweeted. Not okay. Pablo,
I'm sorry. I just want to ask, has anybody heard what Darren, like my father before me, just said?
So,
have you seen that someone else from Lucasfilm, not sure who, has been insulting the fact he's a cancer survivor?
I did not I am not sure because I know other people from Lucasfilm were starting to trash Star Wars Theory. So if I wonder, he was probably referring to, I forgot what his name was, but he was the writer for Battlefront 2 and Squadrons, or it might possibly be one of the threads, somebody or people in the threads who are trashing Star Wars Theory, because even in the Variety article on Twitter, the comment section is nothing but people trashing Star Wars Theory, and even the people who are speaking out, because after this there was more people in Lucasfilm attacking Star Wars Theory as well. So it might be one of those. It might be one of those.
If that's actually true and he's being attacked for being a cancer survivor, that's quite frankly disgusting.
That's it for me, right? For me, that's it for Star Wars.
Holy hell! Like you're telling me they employ somebody who's actually literally that much of a piece of human feces that they're gonna berate somebody who's for being a cancer survivor.
Let me check.
Why don't you just go punch some orphans too, and go harass women at the battered women's shelter? Yeah. Jesus, dude!
What and Darren says it was on
the moral high ground.
I'll check right now.
The moral high ground, no, you don't.
They really do have a nerve.
You don't get to do that anymore.
Well, it's beyond that though. But again, I mean, this is their playbook, guys. They attack anybody for anything that they can think of. Just even if it's deplorable, even if it's disgusting. I mean, honestly, they call a certain segment of the population deplorables, but who is more deplorable? I mean, obviously you're demonstrating it, but hey, it is what it is. And,
let's read on.
I think that Pablo Hidalgo has always been a poor human. So roughly 20 hours later, the executive apologized. Well, it took you 20 hours, huh? I wish to clarify that my post that emotions are not to be shared was sarcastic self-mockery and was certainly not intended to be hurtful to anyone. And I'm deeply sorry about this. Hidalgo posted on his Twitter account, which he made public. Since Hidalgo's account is unverified, Variety has confirmed the authenticity of his tweets. As a lifelong fan, I appreciate fans expressing how they feel. It's what being a fan is about. Yeah, you frickin' lying turkey bird.
Oh, what a douche.
He's not a good guy. Hidalgo did not address placing the offending tweet as the banner over his account. Of course not. It's indefensible. But a source close to him says he did so briefly, not out of malice, but after people began asking his private followers for screenshots of the deleted tweet. The damage, meanwhile, had been done. By the time Hidalgo apologized, Two's YouTube reaction video about Hidalgo's tweet, in which Two's discusses how much Luke Skywalker had helped him when he battled cancer, had already amassed 500,000 views and was trending on Twitter. Two's reaction had itself inspired both its own backlash, with several posters suggesting his outrage was willful misreading of Hidalgo's intentions, a good way to generate more traffic to his channel and revenue into his pockets. Man, these people are trying to cast Variety's trying to cast Star Wars Theory as a bad dude. What a anyway. And once more, Star Wars fans were fighting with Lucasfilm and with each other. Two's did not respond to multiple requests for comment. A spokesperson for Lucasfilm declined to comment. So none of the parties wanted to comment. So you could have just said that. Of course he's not going to comment. You guys are word-twisting asshats. But hey, let's keep going.
Yes, please.
All of this comes just weeks after Disney announced the most aggressive expansion of the Star Wars franchise in its history. Oh, by the way, this is less than a year after Bob Iger said that they were going to be putting Star Wars on pause, by the way. Yeah. Anyway,
so Star Wars fatigue.
Yeah. With 10 new Disney Plus series, along with The Mandalorian, in various stages of development. Yeah, some of them haven't even gotten past. We're writing the treatments if we can figure out how to make it work.
Some of them not past concept, man. They're not even past concept.
Oh yeah,
they just have names.
Yeah. We have a name and an idea, but that's
exactly. Is it just me, or is it anybody else find it ironic that the Acolyte show is by Harvey Weinstein's acolyte? Isn't it? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
Or Beard, or or the person who may have facilitated some of those things. Nobody wants to talk about that. But anyway.
Oh, I'm with you.
In addition to feature films from directors Patty Jenkins and Taika Waititi, both of which have offended fans as many times as they possibly could, the news was meant to capitalize on the near-universal goodwill engendered by The Mandalorian, which has single-handedly helped to soothe the profoundly fraught and virulent fan reactions to the most recent Star Wars feature films, especially Star Wars The Last Jedi. Well, no kidding. To discuss The Last Jedi in any context, let alone the fandom reaction to it, is to risk flying into an asteroid field from which the odds of successfully escaping are 3,720 to 1. In the context of Star Wars theory and Lucasfilm, however, it's worth knowing that with over 2.7 million subscribers to his channel, Twos is one of the most visible and popular figures in what is essentially the professional class of Star Wars fandom. See, again, professional class. They are again trying to cast him in a particular light. This is kind of writing. What did they used to call this? It was not great journalism. There was an actual word for it.
Yellow journalism.
Yeah. Thank you. Yellow journalism. Thank you. Anyway, fandom who have monetized their love for Star Wars into full-blown careers. He's also among the Star Wars fans who have been vocally critical of The Last Jedi, especially how writer-director Rian Johnson chose to reimagine Luke Skywalker as an embittered recluse who's renounced the ways of the Jedi. Right. It needs to be fixed because that's a load of garbage. Yeah.
But does anybody wait a minute, real quick? I watch Star Wars Theory. I enjoy his lore videos and things like that. He was the least critical person about The Last Jedi. You know, he came around saying he didn't enjoy it, but he still defended Lucasfilm and Rian Johnson to the point where people that hated The Last Jedi attacked him. So it's like, for somebody who actually took a lot of the cannon fodder for Star Wars, Variety and Lucasfilm is not supporting the person they should be supporting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Lewis Cox is right.
Yep.
Yeah, Mando is better than TLJ, Pablo, but you clearly don't like Mando is way better than TLJ. Yeah. And that's probably it. They are upset that this group with Filoni and Favreau is doing so well because they know that their gender politics and all their SJW saturated movies and shows might be on their way out.
Well,
but we're close to the end, right? Let's just finish the article real quick.
Okay. Real quick before you start back up, I do have to go. I'm sorry.
Say goodbyes, brother.
I have to jet, guys. McCabe brothers, it's been nice meeting you.
It's been great.
Culture, Scotty, Mahakani, it's always great working with you guys.
Yes, sir.
I'm Etepel Queen of Etepel Queen's, a place to be reviews. If you're so inclined, jump over later on after this is over. You can join us. We'll be going for a while. I'm joined tonight by my co-host Tony Tonedev, Fat Steven Seagal, and Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective over on Going in Rogue episode 5, which starts in about 20 minutes. So thank you guys for having me. I'll be back next week right here on the dump. And Lee's, I'll leave you with the Dawsett tones of Culture Casino and his lustrous hair.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
See you guys.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Love you too.
Okay, so let's finish this out. I got 3 paragraphs to go, it looks like, or maybe more.
Hammer it out and see what's up.
All right. That criticism is but one star in a tangled constellation of turbulent fan discourse over The Last Jedi. One of the most lasting effects of all of it has been to erode the confidence a large sector of fandom has in Disney's stewardship of the Star Wars franchise. By the time The Rise of Skywalker debuted last year to a relatively tepid box office and terrible reviews, Disney's entire Star Wars endeavor had been so freighted by controversy that it was beginning to feel like a Millennium Falcon robbed of its hyperdrive. Guys, for fun, guys, for fun, that paragraph was 2 sentences. So, good Lord. Anyway.
Yeah, it's driving me insane to look at it.
I know. For many fans, including Twos, The Mandalorian had appeared to be the spark that finally got Star Wars back into fighting shape. Executive producer Dave Filoni was mentored by George Lucas himself. Executive producer and showrunner Jon Favreau cut his franchise-building teeth at Marvel Studios and had an uncanny instinct for weaving fan service arcana into a story accessible to the widest possible audience. By resurrecting Luke Skywalker in the season finale, with Mark Hamill's involvement, no less, just his voice, guys, don't get too excited, Favreau and Filoni had managed to rehabilitate not only the particular hero's journey for unhappy fans, but the very idea that Lucasfilm knows what they're doing with Star Wars. But then Hidalgo's tweet and Tu's reaction to it reopened all those wounds. Tu's even referenced his displeasure for The Last Jedi in his reaction video to Hidalgo's tweet, strongly implying that it was a form of sour grapes. Hidalgo's apology, meanwhile, points to common sense, fuck you. Sorry.
Oh my God.
And Tu's own incredulous initial response. Why on earth would anyone at Lucasfilm mock a fan for crying over a deliberately meaningful scene on a Star Wars show? And yet, here we are again, blasters raised and lightsabers unsheathed all over a poorly worded tweet. You sycophants, you tool bags, oh my God, how disingenuous could you possibly be in your presentation of this story? This is willful misrepresentation, and this is the kind of crap that you can expect from people coming out of the now, I guess it's not even Hearst Media anymore. I don't even know what the new ownership group of this is, but with writers like Adam B. Very, please, this is the kind of crap that you absolutely shouldn't be subjected to. I mean, look at this guy. Star Wars theories in tears because of an important moment in an amazing show that touches him back to his childhood. It's more than nostalgia. It's something that, pretty much drove his entire life. So much so he's wearing a 40th anniversary hat for The Empire Strikes Back. And this is the kind of crap that you, as a creator, as a person that's supposed to document and write stories for Star Wars, this is the best you have for the people who consume your products. Oh my God.
It's well said, Culture. Man. Yeah, and, well said. I just wanted to add that Lucasfilm knowing what they're doing with Star Wars is a very charitable statement.
Yes, and Variety. This writer. This has been going on since the beginning of TV, beginning of radio. You always have a writer, a company, a newspaper, a blogger that Pablo or somebody in Lucas can go to and say, we need to candy coat this. We need to make this poor guy, Star Wars Theory, look like he's actually the bad guy without making it too, because it's the wording, small wording to make you think while you're reading this, oh, wait a minute, this guy's a professional. Why was he crying? Oh, this guy, he's making money off of Star Wars. Well, they're trying to make it seem like he faked his reaction, which is bold. And it's his fault that he misread a tweet, which we all know.
Look,
attacking motives to poison the well.
Oh my God.
But they're so disingenuous with it. Even look, Variety exists because of franchises, movies, television. They exist purely to report on these things. So it's disingenuous of them to call out somebody else for making money on it when their whole publication is oriented around, I don't know, making fucking money. Oh man, I'm saying bad words. That's how upset I am. I love that
you're swearing. You're swearing. It's great. What Machini? Explode, Machini. I know you're feeling.
I was in the back. I'm still trying to find it where it is. It's just I'll have to check later. Because I was going through Ichibaka's.
Let's put it this way: Clownfish TV. Their video's called Variety Slams Pablo Hidalgo, where Darren, like my father before me, is saying that another Lucasfilm person made fun of Star Wars Theory for being a cancer survivor. We have not verified that yet, but I doubt Darren is making that up. Clownfish is not making that up. They are emboldened to the fact where they can attack their fans and say the most despicable things and know they'll still have a job at Lucasfilm and Disney will support it.
Two more people came out and attacking fans. One was Mitch Dreyer, the writer for Star Wars Battlefront 2 and War Squadron, trying to shut that down. Then another one was a Topps writer. An artist for the Topps trading cards, spewed some crap at the stuff to fans, and I'm like, this. Where's the defense? Where's the Lucasfilm is actively hating the fans. That's what I'm afraid. That's what 2020, this next year is going to be. Lucasfilm just going complete war with the fan base, and this was the first shot. This is the first shot fired, and they're not just gonna hide it anymore.
Well, what bothers me, though, is this real quick, and I'll let you finish, Makani.
Sure.
Is that after you just announced like 10 shows coming on your streaming service where you're making money nowhere else, how is this any common sense to attack any fans? You need, it could be the biggest, Yahtzee in the world. You need these people watching your shows, buying the streaming service, going to the movies or renting the movies, buying the action figures. How does it make any sense attacking anyone if you're Lucasfilm?
It doesn't.
It doesn't, period.
I don't know.
And you know what? I'm slightly optimistic in the sense that I think Lucasfilm will end up paying the price in the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Agree.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm suspecting, because I'm like, not just on attacks on Star Wars Theory, attacks on Phantom Menace, attacks on like Rebel Force Radio, attacks on Ichibaka, because for now currently somebody wants to try to mass flag Ichibaka's Disney Star Wars is Done blog for reporting all this. So this is gonna hit a breaking point, and it's not gonna look good for Disney in the end. And this is gonna be bad PR for Disney and Lucasfilm.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, some people don't want to learn the easy way. Some people have to learn the hard way. And you know what? Lucasfilm and Disney as a whole will learn the hard way. It may take a while, but they will learn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, culture, how much money have they made off of Star Wars? Nothing yet.
Nothing, not $1. In fact, they're probably $1 billion in the hole right now on Star Wars. I agree. Yeah, I mean they didn't recoup as much as they wanted to out of the films. Of course, they did that, because they hired Rian Johnson. Then they produced some subpar, content after that. The only thing that they had in even public goodwill, of course, was Mandalorian. And they're committing an awful lot of money to a bunch of shows and some unproven folks and some people that have also been very harshly critical of the fan community, right. And very politically driven. In fact, Disney itself has become politically driven, and they willfully have pushed away boys from a franchise that is 95% male. That's as far as the fandom, and that's really stupid. You have 95% of the fans are male. That hasn't changed, even with your, female bologna sausage that you threw at us for the last 6 years. You still have 95% of what is left are male. So your numbers have shrunk of your fans, but your percentages have stayed the same. You still only have 5% female fans. That hasn't changed. It's just like with our YouTube channels. I know that we have female folks that watch all of us, and I appreciate each and every one of them, and I especially appreciate them. But the majority of our followers are going to be 80-85% male. And if you look at your YouTube demographics, especially after you're monetized, it's spelled out fairly clearly for you. But that doesn't mean we make content for just one sex. It's just our appeal is in areas that, aren't necessarily as attractive.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, that's it. I mean,
it just reminds me of
with these people,
Queen's Gambit.
Exactly. With these people, it's all about optics. I mean, take the Queen's Gambit on Netflix, for example. It's a show that's geared towards women predominantly, but that doesn't mean it actively tries to keep men out.
No.
Right.
So Star Wars is the same.
Star Wars is the same.
Well, it's like
it doesn't exclude people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like if I all of a sudden just started changing my videos to, all I want is lesbian viewers, and I start trashing men. Like, that would not be good for my channel.
No.
And then I get mad at the men for being upset with me because I no longer focus on things they like. Now, granted, I'm not saying men don't like things lesbians like. I think we all like the same stuff. But when you actively go out and attack 90% of your customer base, you're asking for problems. And now you're coming back and attacking us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all saw what happened with that disaster that was the Charlie's Angels remake. I mean, the question that runs through my mind is, what the hell do you expect to happen when you go out of your way to say this isn't for you, and then you start bitching and moaning when those people don't turn up?
Right.
Well, not only bitch and moan, but blame the exact same audience that you were saying, no, this isn't for you, yet you blame us for it. Fuck you. Sorry.
Yes.
Ironically, more men went to see that film than women.
Right.
Oh yeah, the fantabulous, the fantabulous bologna sausage.
That's right, Birds of Prey as well. Oh god, how ironic.
Yeah.
I could say
Birds of Prey, the stupid Charlie's Angels reboot, the really bad Terminator Deep Throat or whatever it was called. It was absolutely dominated by a male audience, and they still couldn't earn dick. So what does that tell you?
Delicious irony. That's what that is.
Well, and the irony also in the hypocrisy actually is that these are the same people at Lucasfilm that, go after people for not defending people's right to be who they are. But yet the minute they can make fun of somebody who doesn't fall in the demographic they're talking about, they attack. They freaking attack. They're such hypocrites, man. And it bothers the hell out of me. I don't know. I'd like to bring up the next article because that's another rumored attack by some Lucas and Disney employees. Culture or marketing.
I'll do it.
You got
okay.
All right.
Enjoy. That's the bounding article we're headed to.
That's the bounding one.
That's the bounding one.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
And I'd like to thank all the people showing up that I don't recognize everybody's names, but I'm really appreciative for you guys watching. And Ronitiskem Culture. Did I do that right? See, a film should be able about entertainment. Pushing an agenda should not be the goal of the movie. There's a fine line to walk. Completely agree. Even if it is the goal of the movie, make sure that the plot and the characters and everything is developed before that goal is met. That's my big thing with that. We also have What About's up in the house. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. D.D. Myers, greetings, my man. Thank you for being here. The last thing I want to say real quick on that last article was I don't agree with all of what not a lot of what Star Wars Theory's feelings on Disney Star Wars is. What I do is I respect the man. I watch his videos. I love his passion for Star Wars. And I invite him, if you ever want to stream with a little guy like us and go back and forth about Star Wars, I would love it. I would love it because the whole idea of fandom is arguing about what we love but respecting each other after that. And that's what Lucasfilm employees don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. All right, you ready? Let's check out what the rest of them have to say about our great man Luke. You might want to. Can you bring up your percentage on your view there so people could see it? Maybe like 125%.
Who, me?
Just so people, you, so people can actually see it. There you go. That's perfect.
Oh, okay.
All right, go for it, man.
This is from Spencer over at Bound in the Comics. Rumor, Disney and Lucasfilm employees livid over the return of Luke Skywalker seeking to block future white male leads. Luke Skywalker's cameo in The Mandalorian has become the subject of controversy at Disney and Lucasfilm, as new rumors suggest that employers at both companies are outraged that white male leads was portrayed in a heroic light and well received by fans. On December 28th, Disney news outlet PiratesandPrincesses.net reported that Pablo Hidalgo's recent mockery of Star Wars of fans' reactions to Luke Skywalker's recent cameo. The negative sentiment, which behind this Star Wars author claims was intentional bullshit, was just the tip of the iceberg. As behind the scene, large swaths of Kathleen Kennedy loyalists are messaging back and forth about their disdain for Luke Skywalker, a Caucasian male being brought back in any value form. In fact, I am even told that individuals at Lucasfilm have been reading articles here on Pirates and Princesses, as well as watching videos on Clownfish TV, and now actively planning on how they could roadblock the retcon attempts of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to make Luke Skywalker a hero once more, the outlet said. The Hidalgos of Lucasfilm are not about to let Star Wars go back to the way it once was.
All right, let's take a pause there. Take a pause. Scroll back down, because the only thing I had a big issue was that face. The idea of making Luke Skywalker a badass again, I'm all behind that. Absolutely. I just hated how he looked. The battle was fantastic. What do you guys think about what we just heard? Let's start with Nick. Do you have anything on it?
You know, I wouldn't put anything past Kathleen Kennedy and her ilk at this stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think she made her intentions loud and obnoxiously clear when she released that image of herself surrounded by all those women wearing the Force is female.
Oh,
t-shirts.
Yeah.
She made her views perfectly clear. Luke Skywalker is not what she wants. She wants Rey. She wants Rose Tico. She wants those characters in quotation marks.
Well, don't forget the female that's usually the lead female character in the movies. And I know there's only been like 4 or 5 Disney movies, but if you look at each one, the one Emilia Clarke played, Rey, the one from Rogue One, they're all Kathleen Kennedy, insert myself here characters. That's what she wants. And it's pretty, actually, it's arrogant of her to think that that's what the lead should be in every movie, a female, white female.
Young, beautiful brunette.
Right, which she wishes she was at some point. Culture Casino, do not apologize for cursing. You don't curse on your channel. You can curse as much as you want on mine.
Yeah, but it just means my filters have disengaged. That's not professional.
Yeah.
Sorry if I am too. It's just this is coming out of me. It's just I can't help it. It's sometimes
I want it. Culture, what do you think about what we just read? Anything?
Well, nothing good. I mean, but no, this is not any different than what I'd already heard, which is, you really have a factional divide in this company. You have the loyalists that are part of this cadre of the story group and the people that are actively trying to destroy Western canon and make it impossible for males to be seen in a positive light. And then you have Favreau, Filoni, and a couple other people that are actively working to try to preserve the franchise and to tell really good stories. And then they might put some agenda in there, but boy, is that not even the first 2 things that they're focused on. They have to make this property go. In fact, they were directed by Bob Iger himself. I mean, Bob Iger was keeping very close tabs on the production at every phase of this show. He really was very intimately involved with the production of Mandalorian, believe it or not. And he had regular conversations with Jon Favreau. So just keep all of that in mind, that, you know, Kathleen Kennedy is actively working against the company that, you know, essentially hired her. That's some crap.
Isn't that crazy? And Ronitz Kem, I respect what he's saying here, or he or she. I'm not going to believe anything about rumors. If that's true, though, then the backlash will come. And I agree with you. Said. What I've noticed is a lot of the rumors that are reported by Doomcock, Gary, Midnight's Edge, Culture, they come to be true after a while. So take it with a grain of salt, of course. Always. But we should not. We should be ready for it when it does finally hit the Access media.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean,
call me Ron. I'm sorry, real quick.
Okay, Ron. Yeah,
no problem, Ron.
Yeah, it takes me hearing something from multiple people multiple times. And I'm saying, like, I like to hear things from at least 3 different people that are consistent. Yeah. Well, I mean, these are people I know. I mean, I could guess I could call them sources, but these are people I know. So if I hear something 3 times from 3 different people and it's largely the same, I feel more comfortable about talking about it. It also means that I'm not going to isolate one person and get them in trouble when what I say, you know, comes to fruition, because the last thing I want to do is get somebody I know, you know, in trouble. So it's just, you know, and these are, you know, there are a certain amount of people in the company right now that they're irritated both ways. I mean, it's not just the folks that are you know, unhappy that Luke was, you know, cast in a positive light in the show. It's you know, you have folks on the other side that, you know, really didn't like anything that was made after Force Awakens. I mean, they really didn't.
Well, you have multiple. You have. I would say there's probably more than 2, but you have multiple camps. You have the Kathleen Kennedy sycophants, and then you have the purists that were there when Lucas was still in charge, and then you have the newer generation that just wants to fix what happened and make it more open for everybody and accessible for everybody.
Just consider this: people often referred to Pablo as Yoda, you know, because of his relationship with Lucas. And of course, you know, obviously the way he went about doing Star Wars after Lucas left was fundamentally different than the way things were done before Lucas left. I mean, again, I mean, you know, if anybody has any form of regret that is greater than George Lucas, I don't know who they are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And just to add to Culture's point, I mean this is just rumor at this stage, but I can see it happening in other places. I mean, you talk about the so-called destruction of the Western canon. Anyone who's seen my most recent tweet or even my most recent YouTube video, I know it's a couple of weeks old, will understand that this is going on even in terms of school curriculum. I mean, they're trying to present.
Sorry, Sam. Is that Sam? Sorry about that. Machine's moaning to himself, and it's quite loud.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry, they're trying to present things. I mean, even this really. I mean, if this rumor is to be believed, they're trying to present things under a framework. I mean, even classic literature that positions a group of people as inherently problematic, as a disfavored identity, and they're assigning moral attributes onto things like race and gender identities, and it's driving me up the freaking wall.
So real quick, Darren, like my father before me, he says, hi, Machini 90. It was Jordan Mason, and it wasn't on Clownfish. It was on Geeks and Gamers. So Jordan Mason, Lucasfilm, I guess, employee, may have said, made fun of a cancer survivor. So that's really awesome. Really freaking awesome. What a douche. Machini, what are you doing? We need to keep with the article, my friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
All right, let's go on.
2 Pirates and Princesses. Sources unhappy employees are planning to introduce ideas and narratives that would make the Luke redemption difficult, and are reportedly working in private messages to sabotage attempts by Filoni and Favreau, via minor mediums such as graphic novels, to push the Last Jedi narrative even harder. The goal is to canonize concepts in the coming years that will prevent Luke and Grogu from being future heroes that Favreau has planned. Pirates and Princess is clarified. These people are incensed that the reaction to Luke Skywalker and the Mandalorian has been very incredible. However, it appears that Star Wars will not be the only Disney or Lucasfilm franchise affected by these alleged saboteurs, as Pirates and Princess's sources further claim that there is additionally a rumored movement within Lucasfilm and parts of Disney that are pushing for cancellation of any Caucasian male leads in any future Lucas films for the foreseeable future. If true, Disney and Lucasfilm will have to make significant changes to a number of upcoming products, ranging from franchise styles such as Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Obi-Wan Kenobi, to standalone productions like The Last Duel and Indiana Jones, in order to satisfy the racist demands of their employees. In conclusion to their report, Pirates and Princesses insisted that everything in this article should be considered rumor for now, explaining that a white outlet has their sources reported WDW Pro has not been personally seen the original content being reported on. What do you make of this rumor? Let us know in your opinions in the comments.
Well, let me know in your opinions, people.
Just rumor at this stage.
It's just rumor.
Yeah, take it with a pinch of salt.
Again,
but it wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just say this, and hypothetical, this rumor is true, which I kind of lean towards because there are these facets within Disney. How does it make people feel like, look, Makani, I mean, the rest of us are white dudes. How does that make you feel that they decide we're not going to make white males, the leads anymore? Is that productive, counterproductive? What is that to someone who is black in America, like that loves Star Wars? What would you say to that?
Okay, I'm gonna highlight a comment here, right here.
Okay.
The rumor suggests that employees at both companies are outraged that a white male lead was portrayed in a heroic light and well received by fans. One, that is not a hero. That is not just a white male lead. It's Luke fucking Skywalker.
Yep.
Right.
If he was any other race in the original trilogy, if he was any other alien in the original trilogy, we still would have praised him regardless.
Yeah.
He is the character. It's not just some white male lead, it's Luke Skywalker. So don't come at me with that kind of crap. Okay. And another thing.
Doctor. Oh, another thing. Finish Makani, and then we'll say hello to script.
Go ahead. It's just, but to answer your question, Scott, it shouldn't matter, and yet it should, and it just shows. And if this is true, it just shows that these people are incredibly racist. That these people, and yes, I'm going to say it. These people are racist. Mm-hmm. Do you really? It reminds me of the Kathleen Kennedy quote, "I am a woman, so I can't identify with Luke Skywalker." Screw you! I am a person of color. Female fans. Luke Skywalker was my hero.
So hard at that.
Right. You are a black man, right? You're a black man. Let's just put that out there. Oh my God, he's a black guy. And you love Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
How dare you? How dare you? I'm so aggravated right now because let's just jump to Script. Script, how are you, my friend?
I am well. How is everybody doing tonight? Been busy for the holiday seasons, but to see you guys are running strong. It's great.
We are. This is my feeling on it. When in this they have swapped Anne Boleyn from history to a black character. Mm-hmm. Luke will be black in the next movie. I don't know about that, but what I do know is say it again. Just say it again. It's just
these people have no standards at all. Honestly, 1 minute it's okay to race swap, the next time it's not. So I don't know.
Depending on the race swap.
Exactly.
Now, Script, you jumped in a little late. We read an article about Hidalgo and the Star Wars theory issue. Now we're reading the article from Bounding into Comics we just finished about rumors that they're mad they made a white male, not Luke Skywalker, but a white male, the hero at the end of Mandalorian. What are your feelings on things like this?
Who cares what the color of a person's skin is when it comes to a character? If it's a good character, it's a good character. I mean, Pedro Pascal, for all intents and purposes, could be considered white. I mean, I know he's of Latin background, but not enough people care. So I don't know what the contention is.
It's aggravating. And I know we're saying this is rumor. To me, it's not. I'm sorry. I'll say, in my opinion, I could believe that this is happening at Lucasfilm.
Here's my thing. And if you're really hell bent on not casting as a white male lead, how about this? How about you do a Star Wars film with a non-human character as the lead?
Oh, that'll never go.
Never.
Why not?
But that's a good idea.
Why not do it to Gruden like Ahsoka? Or why not do a Twi'lek as a lead?
Because it's too hard.
Well, like if you want to use something like Ahsoka, you can get away with because you have an entire Clone Wars cartoon series that introduced her as a supporting character. So you've already done the hard labor. To introduce a brand new character as an alien, unless it looks very, very human, it's probably not going to track well because there is actually a human bias with regards to Hollywood where you cannot have your main character be an alien because the people that would front the money are worried that the audience is not going to be able to relate to that character, which is just them being idiots because they went to a business school and they didn't go to anything that incited literature or art or the understanding of the human nature or psychology. It's all spreadsheets and numbers to some of them.
These people don't people very well.
Yeah, and there are plenty of humanoid aliens in the Star Wars universe.
Like Finding Nemo would never have been a movie unless the people that got behind that said, "Listen, it's an allegory," and then they're able to get it.
Right. I do like this. He can cry for many reasons. It's not Disney's concern. They should never mock about it. They should be proud they gave him such a feeling breaking the fourth wall. And I agree. Like you, again, I don't care what anybody says. Hidalgo meant to be a jerk. On a thread about a guy being ripped apart because he showed emotion, he put that statement there. It was not sarcasm. And if it was sarcasm, then you are so blind to what you just wrote under. I can't believe that. What I do think is that Disney should have promoted this. Like, look at this massive YouTuber who's a Star Wars fan that was a little upset with The Last Jedi. Now, so happy that we treated his hero.
Exactly. The marketing practically does itself.
It's gold. They would have made. That would have been perfect for them. I don't know. I did have another article we could do if you guys are up for it, but we have been going for a little while now. Any topics you guys want to hit on before we leave? I kind of wanted to go over. Oh God, let me find it. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Well, if you're looking for the Wonder Woman article, I mean, we can certainly do that. But
yes, I was.
My opinion has been spelled out pretty thoroughly in my review video, but I'm often struck by several other things as I go along. What about the furry Disney movies? Yeah, well, what have been the last successful furry Disney movies? They haven't made one that I can think of in a while. I mean, the last one was the live action remake, which was really still CGI of Lion King, right? I mean, after Zootopia and a few others, they kind of went back to making human-based or humanoid-based animated films like Soul and stuff like that. We'll see what happens with Raya and the Last Dragon, but I can already tell you that is unbelievably woke, and they kind of stomped on that a little bit. But again, I mean, every time I get an inkling of something, I'm getting that sick feeling in my stomach because I'm hearing this. It's a pattern of events that happens around most of these films. So anyway, script. I don't know. Do you want to talk about that at all? I mean, I don't know.
About how Pixar is still being Pixar, like. I'm sorry, I wasn't quite following your.
I'm sorry. Pixar has done a decent job with non-human things, but we're not talking about animation. I mean, but they have stuck with more humanoid stories. I mean, I think the latest Disney thing on Disney Plus is Soul, and that film is fantastic. But the story was in good shape. So my
daughter loves that movie Soul.
Yeah,
she loved it.
I mean. The last one to be that good that way was, I think, Inside Out, in my opinion. But I wasn't as big a fan of Inside Out as many others were.
Mm-hmm. Inside Out was a great film. It was just a little young for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was Inside Out?
The one about the emotions.
Yeah, girls with the different emotions.
Okay. The only theory I saw about that one that I thought was interesting was that the girl was confused on her gender, because when you looked in the dad's brain, they were all, no matter the feeling, they were all males. When you looked in the mom's brain, no matter the feeling, they were all females. But in her brain, she had both male and female. I thought that was an interesting idea.
I thought it was because Lewis Black was anger, and you can't not use Lewis Black.
You gotta use. I love Lewis Black. Hey, Culture, I put that article up if you don't mind sharing it.
Oh, sure thing. Give me 2 seconds.
Because it was something we both discussed about that beginning on our last stream.
Yeah, and I will be honest about it. And well, you know what? We'll get there. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And to Culture, like you were bringing up Ray and Last Dragon, I was like, yeah, I see what you're going for, because I looked at the trailer and I got serious Avatar: The Last Airbender / Legend of Korra.
Oh, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know.
I don't even know that one. What is that one? It's an anime or cartoon?
Yeah, it's a Disney animated film coming out next year. And I think what's Culture saying, there was some problematic undertones going on.
I mean, in my opinion, it's my opinion.
Okay.
I like your opinion.
Well, it's just I don't want people to get it twisted what I think about and why I think about certain things, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so from the playlist, which this is an interesting article,
yes.
Patty Jenkins vetoed Warner Brothers' desire to eliminate Wonder Woman 1984 opening scene on Themyscira. Well, okay. This is from Charles Barfield on December 28th, 2020. So here we go. It is clear now, having watched both 2017's Wonder Woman and the just released sequel, Wonder Woman 1984, the two films are very different. Whether that difference is good or bad is up to you. But there's no denying that director Patty Jenkins has crafted a second Wonder Woman film that shares very little in common with the original. While stylistically, it does have one major similarity, the opening scene, and apparently if Warner Brothers had its way, that might not have been. Does anybody agree with that? I'm just curious.
No.
Yeah, me either.
Not at all. I thought it was way too long. I understand why they did it, because of the lesson she learned of not cheating, but it was so long. And for a long movie already, you didn't need that whole scene.
She technically didn't even cheat.
Really, she didn't. She fell off her horse and she just, got back in the game.
The horse was still ahead of everybody, and she weighs nothing at that point. So whether she fell off or not, she would still have been the first one there. The reason that the cheating is suspect is because the target she had to hit could not have been hit if you went through that weird drain tunnel thing. And that's where the assumption is made. So basically they made Buttercup assume an action that did not actually take place and then punish an innocent girl for it.
Right. Like really just made her like, let's embarrass her in front of all the Amazons.
Yeah. Also, they should never let her compete at that size. There's just no reason for it.
No.
Well, she is a demigod. I mean,
yeah, but she's still like 11 years old. Let her compete when she's like 20. And
right. And at that time, no one knew except for the queen and her sister, right?
And she's the only one of her age participating. I haven't actually seen the film.
There are no other youthful.
Okay, that looks a bit strange.
Well, it kind of, if they were trying to hide her being a demigod, they kind of did a bad job if they let a little girl compete against grown Amazon women. That's all I'm saying.
Well, CJ, also known as the Fandom Menace on Twitter, pointed out the one thing that bothered me that I didn't actually put in my video about that was there was a ton of unnecessary parkour going on in that whole opening scene.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, they lost valuable seconds by doing those unnecessary flips and things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was like, okay, you lost time. You look good. It looked good, but didn't help.
Also, lassoing an arrow in mid-flight does not allow the lasso to go with the arrow. If anything, they both go off course.
Well, yeah, actually, you've arrested the. You will have arrested the because the action of drawing the noose around or the lasso around an object actually arrests all forward momentum because it requires a pull against, and that immediately would drop it to the ground and or elsewhere.
Like if she lassoed it before the arrow was shot, then you could do something.
Sure.
That's not how it worked there.
Yeah, no, very bad. Yeah, it's anyway. So I'll keep going, but I have so many problems with this film. Seriously, if we EFAP'd it,
same here.
We wouldn't get a claim because we wouldn't get far enough into it that you would actually hear any of the score or any of the dialogue consistently because we would just be pointing out the thousands of problems with the film.
Right.
So, but anyway, I digress. Wonder Woman 1984, much like the original 2017 feature, starts with a flashback during the superhero's time on her native island of Themyscira, the home of the Amazonians, otherwise known as Paradise Island, if I am not mistaken.
If you're correct, right.
If you're a man, it's a paradise.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But in the original film, the scene introduced audiences to the world that Wonder Woman is from. And in the sequel, it serves as a reminder of that heritage while also laying out the themes for the 1980s set story. But in a new interview with Joe Blow, Jenkins explained that Warner Brothers wasn't on board with the idea of revisiting Themyscira. Well, maybe they didn't want to revisit it that way, but okay. In fact, the studio wanted the film to just jump into the opening scene, setting the stage in a 1980s mall, showing Diana Prince saving the day. Jenkins, on the other hand, thought it was critical to open back at the home of the Amazons.
Okay.
It was not always written in. It was the success of the first film, but it was also something else, explained Jenkins. I wouldn't have jammed it in there because of the success of the film, because it actually made the movie too long. We have 2 openings in our movie, and we would talk about it with the studio all the time. And they would say, you've got to cut the mall and the 80s, or you've got to cut the Amazon. I was like, we can't cut either. She continued, the reason that I ended up realizing that you need the Amazon is because I suddenly, wow, weird. You do that thing where you're like, wait, you have to remember all the people that haven't seen the first Wonder Woman who watched this on a plane. And suddenly it's like, oh, it's super hard to understand who Diana is and what's going on without touching base there. She's an idiot.
So there's so many people on, wait a minute. Right. There's so many people on a plane that you're worried about that are going to be watching it, that you screw the movie itself for the people that have dedicated, seeing the sequel because it's a sequel. Like, okay, if they're watching it on a plane, they're not going to give a crap what happened in the first movie if they never saw it. But the fans that did see the first movie don't need this added on. Like, again, we're worried too much about people that aren't fans.
The thing is, if she was so worried about that, why didn't she just make it a standalone story without Steve Trevor and whatnot?
Mm-hmm. Right. And the Time Prophet reiterates what I said in our last stream. Every time you saw a man in WW84, he was either the bad guy or he was beating a woman or he was treating a woman like a sex object. I'll add on to that. Like, there was, other than Steve, who was a moron in the show. Yeah, it was
every single opportunity to cast men in a bad light, even Steve. Most of the time, Steve was still cast in a bad light. Even though he's probably the only person with any moral character throughout most of this film.
They made him a useful idiot.
Sorry?
They made him a useful idiot.
Oh, he wasn't even useful.
Yeah,
he was literally treated like luggage in that film. And I hate it when women are treated like luggage in a film. So this is...
Yeah,
even the men over at the Smithsonian, they were kind of just afterthoughts. I mean, Sure, there's that one Asian guy that Kristen Wiig's character likes, but she's only been working there a week, so why should he take any interest in her anyways?
Yeah.
Right.
No, absolutely. Right. I mean, aside from the fact that I guarantee you that in my day, and mind you, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, there is no way on this green earth that I would not have stooped down to help a woman pick up the belongings that she dropped, especially having experienced that same, awful thing in my office myself. So I'm like, this is intentionally done to convey a negative sentiment towards men. It's just ridiculous. It's just, anyway, she's not, again, anyway. So I love the fact that you hear all of the being a great hero takes your whole life, So there was this wisdom there that they were trying to tell her, which is not about being strongest or fastest. It's about these complex observations you have to make during life in order to become a true hero. I love that she doesn't understand that until that final speech. Well, how many times is she going to have to figure this out? Anyway,
Can I ask you guys this? So because I was listening to everybody's review, and one thing that Yellow Flash pointed out was that he was saying that nobody was willing to edit, what Patty Jenkins' script, or let somebody come in and tell Patty Jenkins, no, don't do this. This doesn't make any sense and such. Was that kind of the case?
No, Patty Jenkins did not write this. She has a writing credit because she came up part of the story. Jeff Johns has a writing credit because he came up with part of the story. The guy who wrote this script is Dave Callahan. Okay, he did all the work. Okay, he took the notes. Everybody's giving all the credit to Patty Jenkins, and I'm like, dude, we've seen her direct and co-write and other things. She's not this bad. Like she's not great, but she's not this bad. Okay. This is Dave Callahan, and I've read a lot of his work. This is the guy who's done Doom, the video game adaptation. He worked with Stallone on the Expendables and was never brought back for any of the sequels, so that should tell you some information about this guy. He did Zombieland 2, which nobody saw for a good reason. All these people are making a very big jump to a conclusion that Patty Jenkins was the sole proprietor of this film, and she's not. She loved the ideas, sure, in the script, and some of them may have been hers, but she's not the one that put pen to paper. And she's not the one that had to worry about the structure of this. She just had to direct and do the fun things that she wanted to do, which directors can do easily. But a director that's really cares about the story would not let this happen. So she does play a part, but she's not the sole reason this script is terrible.
Right. So I guess my question is, do you get the sense that if there was like somebody like an editor or somebody to kind of ring them in, that it would have been a lot more cohesive and more coherent?
If she hired a different screenwriter, yes, the story would have been a lot more cohesive and coherent. There's even an editor doesn't have much to say because they just have to try and make the best they can out of the footage they have.
Okay, right.
And also an executive producer would take a look at a script. Any normal executive producer worth their salt would look at the script and say, we cannot film this as it is.
Okay.
Right. Real quick, everybody, Riff Mangoes, one of the earliest supporters of the fourth wave, and Rogue Entertainment, and whatever the heck we were called before that. He's an OG in our crew. He sent $10 Australian, I'm guessing, with the A. Hail, Sporking. If we criticize The Last Jedi, we're attacked. If we dare to show positive emotions for The Mandalorian, we're still attacked. Hashtag the fandom menace and proud. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. You rock. I love always seeing you in my chat, in the Rogue chat. You are OG in my heart, man. Thank you. We could read this one, or we can go with the other article that talks about what they're going to do in Wonder Woman 3, because for some reason, you
know what? And let's. Is this look? You can announce an awful lot of things, and I think Script said earlier today on Mead stream or Midnight's Edge stream. Was that today? God, this has been a long day. Was it yesterday? Anyway, the longest Midnight's Edge stream I've ever seen in my life happened today, and Script said that this is nothing more than a marketing technique to talk about a third film when I don't know how you're going to justify it. At least you're not going to be able to give it any kind of a budget. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. Stripped. Where did
Max is going to make a lot of money because it's double the price of Disney Plus. Even though they have like a third of the subscribers, they're still making some decent bank. So they can afford to have at least one big tentpole film based on that subscriber number. But the thing is that this article here is from a pretty reliable source who knows his stuff. He's not really wrong, but I would say the idea is a little too early to tell, but it would probably make a bit more sense given the subject matter and location of where they want to shoot this film. It's more to the strengths of what Patty Jenkins has done with the past two Wonder Woman films. So it might be worth taking a look at.
Yeah, why don't we take a look at that? Because I don't even care about this movie, 84. And I feel like culture might have an aneurysm anyway. So if someone could bring up the scoop on Wonder Woman 3, I love culture. Or Script.
You want to do this, or do you want me to do it, Script?
I can't share it right now. My
I got it.
computer's still getting used to the new processor.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
All right, you got it, Makini.
You got it. All right, Scoop. And this is from Geekosity, written by Mikey Sutton. Scoop. Wonder Woman returns to Themyscira in third, more serious film. The third Wonder Woman movie will apparently have the franchise go full circle as the Amazon princess returns to her native island of Themyscira. With Patty Jenkins back as director, the movie will apparently be closer to the tone in the 2017 initial film, according to insiders. While Wonder Woman 1984 has been met with loud hammerings from fans who didn't appreciate the 80s style over-the-top approach, the third film will be more serious and grittier. However, I am told by sources that the shift has nothing to do with the mixed reception for 1984. For the record, I give it a positive review. But because of the time and contemporary setting, I've heard that the film will most likely take place on Themyscira with the sorceress Circe as the main villain. While DC Films don't have a clear vision of what to do with the series going forward beyond the film, it is most likely that it will be Patty Jenkins' final at the helm.
Thank God.
DC Films does not want the Wonder Woman movies to incorporate more of the DCEU by having much of a Wonder Woman 3 in Themyscira. Jenkins can simply ignore the events of Justice League or the Snyder Cup and focuses on her own tale. And that's it.
So, will she have the invisible jet, even though she had one in the 80s, didn't have one during the Batman vs. Superman era, and now I'm guessing this will be post that. Will she have her jet again? Because the continuity sucks. She might have lost. I misplaced my invisible jet. So, Script, you brought that to our attention. What do you think about that article?
It goes into a rumor that I heard many years ago about them wanting to have Diana go against more magical adversaries, and we get a little bit of truth to that with the Wonder Woman 84. That's a magical adversary, even though the adversary is not really an adversary. And I think they're going to round it out with this one because number one, it's one of Wonder Woman's more popular villains, and they haven't addressed it yet. And I would say with good reason, it's probably smarter to use a character like Circe to close off your so-called Wonder Woman trilogy. And on top of that, too, regardless of what a lot of people think about both movies, there is a more unanimous understanding and reverence for the Themyscira scenes than there are of anything else. So if they're going to keep the setting in Themyscira, it fits within what more fans and more producers outside of some of the ones over at Warner Brothers that objected to the Themyscira stuff have said that, yeah, you're going to have Diana returning home. So you've got a 3-act structure there where she leaves home for a new adventure, learns something, then comes back home having changed. And that fits in line with your basic story mechanics. And so long as they don't bring Callahan back to help write it, I think it might serve as a nice little ending to Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot on their Wonder Woman character.
Script, I wish I could join you in your optimism. I really do.
I'm trying to be optimistic.
I know.
It's really hard.
I know. And I wish I could, but here's the problem. So it's easier to write an all-women movie when you're on the Isle of Amazons. And I guess that's Patty Jenkins' strength, right? Is just she can't do men because she just offends them too much. And so we're looking at we're looking at a full women thing all over again on the Isle of the Amazons, Paradise Island.
She's not supposed to be ever able to go back.
Exactly, and that was my next point. She is not supposed to be able to return to the island. She was told specifically it would be impossible.
Magically can't return.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that she's left, she can't come back. And how are they going to get her back when she was told specifically in the first film can't happen?
See, I can't remember the rule other than the fact that she was personally banned. Because usually in other comics and other iterations, she's ostracized. She's thrown away. She's shunned by Themyscira.
Yeah,
and it's on an honor system, meaning that they won't accept her back. And that usually changes when some sort of tragedy happens to Themyscira and they reach out to her saying, you're the only one that can help us because so many of our other warriors have fallen. And that might be the case here because that is the scapegoat aspect of it. It's not even a breaking of the rule. It's just, it's never said that there's a magical spell preventing you from ever returning. It's that if you leave us, you are not welcome back. And it's very poignant that it says in the lore that it's welcomed back. Meaning that she stays away because she has offended, and it's not something preventing her from not an actual gatekeeping.
Hippolyta actually tells her she can't return. She doesn't elaborate on it, but says specifically she can't return.
She even says it's almost implied that if she leaves, it's physically impossible for her to find it again, even though the Nazis found it, but or not Nazis yet. I'm sorry, it was
World War I German soldiers found it. Steve Trevor found it. There's an accidental means to find it.
Yeah, there is. You're right.
There's nothing saying that even if she is cast out, if someone were to escape Themyscira with the ability to go back to it, there's your and tell Diana of Cersei's attack. There's your line of thought. That's how you get there.
But I mean, just following the original Greek myth, it says specifically that the cost of Aphrodite's help was that the Amazons must live isolated from the world of men, which means when they leave that island, that you can't return because you were not isolated from the world of men.
Well, you've broken that vow. That's the thing. There's a difference between you've broken the vow and the whole. You could walk back to the island but never penetrate the invisible field. I mean, the only way never really established.
But the only way that works, the only way that works is if Darkseid still exists after whatever happens with Justice League. After
what does Darkseid have to do with that?
Because Darkseid went back and turned all of the Amazons to stone.
In Justice League?
No, in part of the storytelling around the comics.
So anyone can actually enter Themyscira. You're just forbidden to do so, and you're also driven off. We've already seen that established, right?
But I'm saying that if they stick to the comic lore, then Darkseid had already turned everybody on the island of Themyscira into stone.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be anything to return to.
Well, I mean, the island's still there.
I don't know. It's going to depend on where it falls in the timeline. They're going to have a problem, is my point.
They're not following comic book either, though, Culture. They're not going to follow.
I mean, there's really not a problem. It's just all how you interpret the laws in place. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the very first film established that it can be discovered accidentally, which means that with time and dedication, it can be discovered deliberately. And that's actually one of the things that's a running aspect with Themyscira is that it can be discovered. And people can find it. And the fact that no one returns usually ends up having to do with the fact that the Amazons kill the person involved. In fact, there is a young girl character who washes up on the shores of the Themyscira and becomes adopted as an Amazon. Yeah. And she ends up becoming kind of crazy and goes back to man's world and wreaks havoc and is one of Wonder Woman's villains. And her name is escaping me at the moment, but she's part of the canon of that thing. And there's nothing to say that she can't go back other than she has broken another vow or word that has been decreed by the gods of Hippolyta.
Right. So it's if you leave, you're honored bound not to return.
Yeah, and under the warrior code, if Hippolyta were to say you can't come back, it means if you want to maintain being a warrior, if you want to honor us, even though you're disgracing us from leaving, you're not coming back.
I guess what it is, and I think Culture and I both agree, it's that they implied it. And because they didn't do a good enough job explaining it, this is the loophole they can get back through. That bothers me,
Yeah, it's where they wrote the line and they took it too literally in the execution and didn't decree that. Like, they should have had the thing where it's like, you can go and take him back, but if you stay, you cannot return. And because that's what the original stuff was, that Wonder Woman in one iteration, she wins the ability to take Trevor back to America, and then she has to come back home immediately.
Yep.
And she ends up falling in love with Man's World and doesn't, and that offends her mom. And she's like, you can't come back. I'm not letting you back. You are banished from Themyscira.
Yeah. All of this stuff is insane. Look, Script, you and I know we can write our way out of that circumstance fairly easily. But again, if you stick with the lore, you have some problems. And and it's gonna depend on where this falls. Because if you kill off, let's say that this film canonically falls in continuity after the events of Justice League and Darkseid has been eliminated, then does that mean that during the iteration where I'm having a problem because
the other part too is Cersei's a witch of sorts. She could probably destroy the invisible barrier on Themyscira because it's part of her actions of taking into chaos. In which case, you have no issues of Diana finding it and liberating it, and maybe scoring some points with her mom to return back to the island.
I expect that to be the loophole they use.
But the deal was with a god. The deal was with Aphrodite, right? So the deal didn't change.
Right. It's her protecting that island.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that was wait
a minute, real quick.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Culture, but I want to fix something because in the movie, Diana, when she made her invisible plane, she says, "My father did this to protect, make Themyscira disappear." Yeah. So actually, in the movies, it was Zeus that created the shield. Although I don't think it was Zeus.
Dead, aren't they?
Well, Hera protects the Amazons. Zeus
you're right.
Did the shield. Aphrodite had some of her own things to do with it. They mix and match the gods and their preference and their involvement with Themyscira all the time.
I think Nick hit it on the head, though. Nick hit it on the head. In the movie,
I thought
they're all dead.
All the gods were destroyed.
You're right.
Like Ares was the last god.
You're right, because Zeus's last act was making Diana.
Protect Themyscira, yeah.
So no one's protecting it right now.
No, it's just
they just hold spells left in
right.
In
and I understand.
And if Cersei were to destroy that spell, which she's powerful enough to do, there's your thing right there.
All right. Okay, I agree with you. You're right. You can do it.
It's not ideal, but I mean, you got to bring if you want to have the Amazons play a part in your next movie, you have to come up with what is a good cause and effect to bring these two back together. And since they decide they're using Cersei, she is right in line for that. She can cause chaos and she can do a lot of stuff. She's one of Wonder Woman's big bad villains.
Do you know what's a better argument right now? The one that we're having over why you could or couldn't have this happen on the freaking island is way better than the damn movie. And with the thought of a third movie, you know what I mean? This is what pisses me off. Is we used to have these discussions all the time. You would have this discussion in a bar. You'd have this discussion around a gaming table. You would have this discussion, playing a board game. You'd have this discussion with people while you're playing a video game on your voice chat. And you would be, this was the kind of iteration where we would disagree on something, but ultimately, like Script and I just did, either we part as friends or we both agree, yeah, we're both right. This could happen. And and there's no room for that anymore. And so again, this is why this thing is more valuable to me. This conversation, what we're doing right now here on Scott's channel, is more valuable to me than anything they have produced in the form of Wonder Woman 1984 and what I think they may produce in Wonder Woman 3. So anyway, I'm sorry, and I saw that final. What are we calling final? What are we calling final now? Because he changed the name of the
You call me whatever you want, Culture. You call me whatever you want.
Okay, Mini JJ, what's up?
There you go. You mean more to me than anything they produced.
Is this the first dump you've been on? Because I don't remember you being on any dumps.
I was on your 1,000 celebration stream. Don't.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Probably because there was big names on there, you son of a. Thank you. You were the big name, right? Riff became a channel member today. Riff is an OS, an original support.
Riff.
And I thank you, my brother. Thank you. He's such a good dude. I appreciate that. And you just gave Culture Casino more work. Thank you.
It's all right. I don't care. Scott, I always tell you, if you want to update the credits, send me who you added. I will throw them on there. It's not a big deal. It takes me 20 seconds to change and 8 minutes to render. So it's not a big deal.
Well, we have somebody here, though. We have a guest of sorts. Finaldeathstar from a great channel, Into the Unfamiliar Touch. I don't even know.
Enter the Unfamiliar.
That's close enough.
Oh, Enter the Unfamiliar.
That's right.
Yeah, ETU.
ETU Finaldeathstar.
Yes, from ETU.
Well, I know, you're more about ancient civilizations now and aliens, but how do you feel about Pablo Hidalgo?
Oh boy. I just was catching up on author Stephen Walton's videos that was, he's kind of documenting. Yeah, man. What a great set of videos he put out there. Yep. Really got into the whole, it's like his book. He kind of summarized what he was writing in the Phantom Menace Volume 1 and was expounding upon that in the in the first video he made, where he really got into the whole culture of the Phantom Menace, the Phantom Menace, and talked about geeks and gamers and what it meant to everyone, and how Star Wars theory is kind of, he was sort of on the outer rim, so to speak, and didn't really mix it up with us, kind of stayed sort of neutral to a degree, but gosh, I just saw earlier today he was streaming with Drunk 3PO and Jeremy on Drunk's channel. So Star Wars Theory was. So, it's like at least he's, I think he's aware of the support that he has, right now, at least, and specifically against the tyrannical leadership at Lucasfilm. It's unacceptable. It's just completely unacceptable. I think there's there's no doubt now that there is an intentional agenda at Lucasfilm to distance fans. Even with the Mandalorian, I think, but there probably is some truth to the Civil War talk, inside Lucasfilm. To what degree, I don't know, but there has to be something to it, because when you have them coming out and being able to say this, like he's getting away with being able to say this stuff and not being reprimanded, and then he takes down the tweet and puts it as like a banner on his. It's just insane. How is this allowed to go on? You're literally making fun of a fan who is so passionate about something that your company put out. Maybe he had nothing to do with it and he's jealous of it, but it's just completely unacceptable. It could be, he might be a little jealous. He had nothing to do with that. So, he's talking trash, but anyway, Culture, I know you wanted to chime in there, so go ahead.
Well, he just ran out, but you have a valid point there, Final. Culture's back. I'm sorry.
I was just going to agree with him wholeheartedly. I just can't say to what extent. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say there's division.
Same.
Yeah. Yep.
And what bothers me
more clear now than before.
What bothers me the most. Yeah, go ahead, Makini, go.
No, I was going to say that there is more division, and this situation here is further evident that there is division within Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
right. And when you have somebody, Final, that like Star Wars Theory, that has been, he may have been critical, but if you call his critical, you're over exaggerating. He has been upset with a couple things that have happened, but in the most part, he has been defending Star Wars from everybody for the past four years since 2016, 2015, around there. Now, you go and attack a person like that. Now, I could see them attacking me, somebody who has never liked any of the new Star Wars stuff except for Rogue One. And even then I was like, but this guy has defended what you guys have put out there, and you do that to him. And then you go with we were just kidding, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Such BS.
Yeah.
This could have been avoided if Twitter had an italics font that was denoted for sarcasm.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
it was on a banner above Twitter all the time that says italics equals sarcastic, in which case Pablo wouldn't have written it in italics, and then we'd know for sure.
Yes, right. You're absolutely right. It's the truth too, man. It's like one of those things where he did the, and someone said it earlier here, the whole "it was a joke man" theory. That's
bullshit. No, it was one of the McCabes, and yes, you're right. Yep. And here, you know how I get around whether or not I'm saying something sarcasm or not. If I want to make it perfectly clear, I use parenthesis/sarcasm parenthesis. Say what I'm going to say in a snarky way. Parenthesis / sarcasm parenthesis. Therefore, you know the context I mean it. But you can't convey tone. That goes back to old school chat, like back when we chatted on BBSs. You remember what those were?
Yeah, exactly. This isn't anything new. We're aware that stuff can get lost in translation over text, so it's
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, Final. And Ron said specifically /XS exists. That's the other way of going about it. But of course, to me, then I start thinking of, Linux when you start to do stuff. So, but yeah.
I don't know. And then we went over while you weren't here, Final, was there is rumors that there's a certain section of the Star Wars Lucasfilm employees that were upset that a white male lead was the hero in the final of The Mandalorian. Just a white male lead.
Were they themselves white male when they were upset about it?
That's a good question. Yeah, who are these nonsensical employees at Lucasfilm that would feel this way? I don't believe it.
Not at all, right? Not at all.
Not from the quality of material we've seen they've been putting out for the last 5 years. Again. Well, yeah, it sounds like jealousy. It sounds like, I think especially at first it was agenda. Now it's jealousy, because their agenda didn't work. And when they went back to good old fashioned Star Wars, all of a sudden the fans love it. And yeah, I think they're jealous. Of course they are, because what they were trying to push wasn't working. Their new fandom they were trying to create didn't get created. They didn't show up. There weren't enough of them. So when when the certain group of them decided, let's try to please the fans a little bit. Let's take this back to old school Star Wars. They got upset and got jealous, and now they're acting out like children. I mean, right. I was watching Steven's video, and when he was like laying this stuff down, I was speaking out loud watching this, saying, I cannot believe this. What trash. I don't like slandering people or calling people names, but the way that Pablo Hidalgo is acting is trash. I mean, it really is. It's unacceptable. He's acting like it's like a kid or a baby. I don't know. We don't know the whole story behind it, but from everything we're seeing and the stuff that he's put out, it seems like it's pretty clear. Like, you're acting like a child. Why would you make fun of someone who's passionate about your product? That's like customer service 101. That's like the most basic.
They're almost treating people like they're supposed to be simps.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I could yell at you, take it, and keep paying.
Yeah. Don't ask questions. Just consume product and get excited for next product.
Getting their marketing education from.
Yeah,
marketing 101. Don't piss off the people putting money into your pocket.
The people who are actually buying it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they already did that, right, with the last 5 years. But now it's like they actually made something that people like, and now they're making fun of the people. So they're not only pissing them off, now they're like, they're teasing them for being emotional about something.
They're acting like spiteful children.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't piss them off, and don't make fun of them for having a strong.
I'm sorry, everything went weird there for a second, so I don't know what you just said. But Snap My Gauntlet-Clad Fingers, the Disney sequel, never happened. If we can only do that, I probably.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
And Riff, while you're doing that, can you snap the last 2 to 4 seasons of Game of Thrones and just have George finish the books for me? Thank you. Finally,
wait a minute. We were just talking about Wonder Woman 1984. You just have to wish to become the stone. And then you can get all of your wishes.
Right. If I wish to be the stone, and then I just have to talk you into it. Wouldn't you like that if my dreams came true? Yeah, I guess I would.
Yeah, but there would have to be a sacrifice.
I was just waiting for one character to say, no, I don't wish for that.
Yeah, but there would have to be a sacrifice, Scott. Remember, monkey's paw.
No, I get that, but like,
can you guys explain to me exactly how the stone? Have you figured out how the stone works? Like you get a wish, but you have to give. It's almost like the Soul Stone, right, from Avengers. Like you get something, but you have to give something. But is it draining Pablo? Like was it draining Lord's powers, his life? Is that he just kept needing more?
There's
people
no rule to
wishes?
explain why he was weakening. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, am I missing something here, or is it just there was no reason for that?
He almost seemed to be getting obsessed with what the object wants, and that's for everyone to make a wish so that the end of the world can happen. That's kind of what I got from it. But I don't understand then why was he getting physically ill? Like
at first
everything.
At first I thought it was it is exhausting trying to figure out because it didn't make sense. And I thought, okay, he wished to be the stone. So I thought he was physically slowly turning into stone, like he was becoming the stone. I thought, well, that's kind of
interesting.
A
little too literal.
I thought that was like the thing that he didn't get, that it was gonna it was taken more literally than he thought. And I thought his body was starting to break down. I thought, okay, maybe that'll be interesting if he turned into like a statue, like he literally became the stone. But then that's not what happened. And I'm like, okay, well then why the heck is he getting sick? Like, what's the need for more wishes? Other than just to have more power, I get that, but the body breakdown thing, I just. Yeah, okay. It's good to know you guys.
Could have just said, "I wish to be perpetually rich and famous," and boom, nothing else. He has nothing else to do.
Yeah,
right. He overcomplicated it needlessly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It made no sense. And then we were talking about Kristen Wiig. She plays that dorky character in every film, and then when she turns into like the predator of the film, the one of the big bads. I just didn't feel it. She gave Psycho eyes, and that was her whole role. Just those.
It's a rehash on Jamie Foxx's Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
it's a very specific trope.
Well, it's basically succumbing to the seduction of power, and the fact of the matter is that they don't really set up how it changes their lives into the way that would corrupt them in such a way.
Surely. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And surely, especially if we're talking character development, wouldn't it have been better to go really dark with Cheetah? Like, in order to have that proper development into a quote-unquote predator, wouldn't it have been better had she been victimized herself, like properly victimized?
Thank you. One guy gets upset with her, Nick.
You are a predator. I'm going to make you feel the way I felt,
Well, if she had a bad relationship, that would have been better. Also, if she got all of her wishes and status and was still rejected by the guy that was the object of her affection, and therefore she became resentful, there you have a proper journey to the predatory and evil nature.
There was no driving force for her to become an apex predator. That can't seem to come out of nowhere. It's like, you're already strong. Why now the need for more power and to be evil? I agree with you guys 100%.
That's why I say, maybe a bit of darkness in the movie would have been needed. She has to have been victimized. She had to have been predated on.
Don't forget this other trope that seems to happen as well with a lot of, this is just my experience. It's just an opinion. Shoot me down if you please. But it seems to occur, particularly with female villains, that they don't want the female villains to take accountability for their own actions. They always have to blame it on a man. It's always a man responsible for making them
except oddly enough, in the movie Catwoman with Halle Berry and Sharon Stone, there was no blaming of a man for that. On the villain side, at least.
On the villain side,
that's another poorly written story.
One very badly written story.
Ron, she does wish. She wishes she's more like Diana. Like she's holding it and goes, God, I wish I was more like Diana, sophisticated and this and that, and the stone decides, well, even though she doesn't know about her superpowers, I'm going to give her superpowers.
Well, and here's the other thing. They couldn't show the drapery that was clearly the path to get her to be, extra man hating. But in the world that they exist, everybody hates men because we saw that the whole film. And so it's not, you've already set up that world, so everybody hates men. So it's not, that's not anything out of the normal or the ordinary.
For Wonder Woman, she seemed to love men enough to
it's kind of forced to make sense by default.
Well, and here's the whole Cosby thing. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, that's the situation. Like I said in my review, I mean, Diana essentially Cosby'd this dude. I mean, she did. You know, she should have had like that moral awakening right from the very beginning. I mean, even Steve has like Script talked about this, I think, the other day too. This is why I love having Script around, because he's like, you know, genius. But it's the Steve had already the right idea about the fact that, oh shoot, I'm in this other dude's life. Maybe this isn't the best thing in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And so he had multiple reasons to jump out of that body, even though it meant sacrificing his life. Right. And they could have gotten around that whole thing, like Script has also suggested. And I would have in my review had I gone into detail, because when you get to about 40 minutes of recording, you're like, nobody's going to watch this damn thing. But anyway, I mean, I am not Mueller. I don't have the accent. I don't sound like a McCabe. I don't have this beautiful voice that people listen to. So no.
I know. I wish I had it sometimes.
You'd have to sing it lyrically.
I could sing it. Yes, I could sing it. But anyway, it's just it made Stripped. Help me. It didn't make.
Well, real quick too, before you get to Script, Ron has a valid point. You were supposed to get your one wish. So she wished to be more like Diana, but then she wishes again to be the apex.
No,
predator.
well,
How
no.
did that happen?
Okay, so here's the thing. When this is the convolutedness of it all, this is why nobody gets this film, or nobody even cares to get this film, is that what Maxwell Lord would do is he would take what he wanted from the other person making the wish. So he said, when he's like, I will grant you this when somebody else wishes. So he granted her the apex predator status from somebody else's wish. So, and that's why he kept having to go to different people. So, and then, yeah. I mean, essentially anything that he wanted, he took in return from somebody else's wish. Right. Including towards the end of the film, if you were paying attention, someone's vitality, which means their life force. Right. In fact, I think he actually used those words exactly. It may be in a different order. I'm paraphrasing a little, but that's how he was going to regenerate himself, was on others. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Yeah, that's true.
It's also interesting that she wanted to be like Diana in refinement, you know, in beauty, and she ends up becoming animalistic and, you know, Pharaoh. Is that the right term?
Yeah. Pharaoh.
Yeah, Pharaoh. Yeah, I mean, she kind of goes like the opposite direction on that, you know, totally away from what she was originally planning.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't need Cheetah in this film, really, at all.
Nope.
They didn't need Steve Trevor.
I think I read somewhere that Cheetah would have been better served as the sole villain of another Wonder Woman film. You know,
she's one of her
really flesh her out, you know?
They wasted two villains, two good villains. They wasted.
Lord would have needed to be more villain bloat.
Yeah, he would have needed to have been a better villain though, because him alone, he didn't have a menacing enough presence. You know, if they didn't have Cheetah in it, he couldn't have carried it as the main big bad. You know, in the film either. His story would have had to be.
Well, he had no want.
There's no real villain.
Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord kind of. I mean, I haven't seen the film. I've only seen bits of it, but he kind of struck me as a joke, a bit of comic relief, if you will.
He was in a way,
but that's a fault of writing. That is a fault of the writer in not creating that menace that both Final and I were looking for. I said those actual words in my video, Final. I'm glad you watched. That he didn't come across as menacing. You know, it was disgusting, and I'm like, how is this a bad guy? He's making bad choices, but he's not a villain. I mean, in a superhero movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, Script, you actually want to have a villain. Somebody is a big bad. Somebody that you can focus on as the evil to the good, right? And ideally, we had none of this.
You want a villain that is doing things that they themselves think is good for the benefit of either themselves or the world in a very perverted way of what the hero is trying to do.
That's always the best villain. Better. Yeah.
That's usually the best part. But Maxwell Lord in this thing is none of that. And then by the very end, they tack on this, he's the child of an abusive father. And all he cares about is his kid, which they completely just pushed to the side and didn't even focus on, because you could have a very menacing type of villain if you have Maxwell Lord, a single father who's at risk of losing the custody of his child because his business is failing and his ex-wife is a horrible person to him. And
we would never have known that, though. She
new
never
guy.
saw her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. We never saw them
doing is just trying to win his son back and get revenge on his ex-wife who broke his heart and left him for another man. And then you have like a little bit of pettiness, you have a little bit of evilness, and then you have him get carried away with the power that he gains from this stone to the point where he loses all sight of everything, and it's only his son, through the help of Diana, that brings him back to normal.
Exactly.
And then
you've got all of those wonderful Aristotelian motivations going on. It's fantastic. But of course, that would require logic and thought. So,
right.
Requires understanding human relationships, which unfortunately a lot of people in Hollywood don't know because they've never dealt with human relationships.
And what's crazy, you had a 2.5 hour time span to get some of that storyline. Like 2.5 hours, you should have had a killer story. That's more time than you need.
Right. It is. It's about 45 minutes more than that movie needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they could have followed their favorite trope. I mean, the bad dad. Like who in his warped mind thought he was actually doing good for his son by getting this power. That's what I felt like they were trying to.
That's what they were trying to do.
They wedged it in right at the end and it didn't hit.
Yeah, just didn't land well.
You're right.
Well, don't you feel, and this is a question for everybody, don't you feel that having two diluted, not really effective villains killed this whole film? Yes. Because if you focused your story around one villain, it'd have been easier to tell. And you could have picked one or the other, I think.
And don't forget, we could have had a cheetah that even with Princess Diana's full strength culture, she would have been still being cut by Cheetah's claws, and the speed of Cheetah would have kept her at a disadvantage. That's why I thought they had the golden armor, but that was just a throwaway thing too.
Oh yeah, they absolutely wasted the armor of Asteria. It ended up being a vehicle for the post-credit scene. That was pretty much it at that point. But it trivialized the armor to begin with, because essentially Asteria held back the entire army of men for an extended period of time with that armor, but Cheetah was able to tear it to shreds in like less than 15 seconds. Right. I mean, that's pretty weak. But there's a lot of problems with. I could tear this film to pieces because it's so poorly written, and it's just, you could have had Maxwell Lord as the bad guy in this and set up Cheetah for the next film, because she didn't renounce her wish. She got her wish. Right? You could have left her out there as the person that didn't do it. So she had all of Wonder Woman's powers. And so gradually the stone would be turning her into that apex predator, right? That would have been the thing it took away from her, was her humanity. That if I were writing that story, I would give it to script, but I would give him these ideas and he would say, no, that's extra dumb. I count, and that's the thing, is I'm going to hand script my ideas for the story I want to tell with my horror Western, right? And he's going to tell me, man, you're really not a good writer. And then he'll do something with it, and I'll give him a bunch of money.
Make you a good writer.
Yeah, I'll give him a bunch of money and then say, do that.
Sound smart. Make me sound smart. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We've been going for over 2 hours now. I first want to thank Final, dude. Thank you for stopping in. It's been nice to have you on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
tell them about your new channel and where they can find you.
Well, the channel is called Enter the Unfamiliar, and the almost daily videos, or a couple times a week videos on the UFO phenomenon, ancient history, biblical prophecy, paranormal events, all the hidden histories of the world and the strange mysteries that we find out about here and there, or get little glimpses of, pieces of, but there's so much more to uncover. So put out videos on that stuff, and we do a live show every Sunday night at 7:00 Pacific Standard Time with Flipped Out, the Phantom Collective, and we go through different UFO sightings throughout the week, hit on some of the stories that are somehow related to the paranormal or space in general, and then do a weekly topic or a bi-weekly, or sometimes it goes, sometimes it's a series. It might cover a couple weeks. So we just did a Yeti, 2 weeks on the Yeti, and we're going to be doing a show on Bigfoot, probably a multi-show on Bigfoot coming up as well. So you can check me out over there. And thank you very much for having me on. It was fun to be on here with you guys.
Yeah, it was good to have you too. And for anybody that was in the stream tonight, because there was a lot of names I didn't recognize, or maybe people changed. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and all the panelists too. We could use your support because YouTube doesn't help us all out. But thank you, Final. I appreciate being here. And next up, we will go with Sam.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me, everyone. It's been great to meet some of you. And it's been great thank you for having me on the stream. You can find me on Twitter. The link is below. You can also find me on YouTube. I discuss writing, I discuss publishing, I've got trailer reactions. Currently, my latest video is about 2 weeks old, but the topic is still very much relevant. If anyone is interested in reading up on the destruction of the Western canon and the like, I encourage you to have a look. It's very interesting. Look at my latest tweet, you'll understand what the topic is all about. And like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and it would be much appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe to everyone else on this panel too.
Thank you, brother. And we will go with my brother. I was about to say the other brother, Nick McCabe.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nick McCabe. I also have a YouTube channel. Just look for this face and look for this name. I am, however, more active on Twitter. I'm at Mr. Mooney Blue 1. As said right at the beginning of this stream, I've got a few irons in the fire. I just have to pick and choose which thing I'm going to do. And yeah, you'll see me in a whole other streams as well, like Kai MFS. I play Among Us with him. And you may also find me on Merry Mayhem or Caffeinated Wolf's stream sometime or another as well, also playing Among Us.
Two beautiful people. Thank you, Nick.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, they really are. And next up, Machiny90.
All right. Good evening. Good night, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Machiny90. I'm the artist of Rogue Entertainment and one of the mods of Rogue Entertainment. You can find me on YouTube, where I do weekly draw streams every Wednesday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, and I do new time-lapse videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. I have a new time-lapse coming tomorrow, but the important thing is, if I can, guys, please check out the video I posted yesterday about the situation with Star Wars Theory and Pablo Hidalgo. It's my first time. It's the first time me doing a commentary video. So I really wanted to talk about this. And if you can tell from how I felt during the streams, I was very angry and I really had a lot to say about it. So if you can, please check that out. I'll put a link to my video in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. And next up, the Script Doctor.
Oh, well, thank you. So happy I was able to make it. Please subscribe to everybody on the panel. They appreciate the support. As for myself, I'm slowly toiling away on some videos to come out. I'm probably done for the year. Like, all of my stuff will be coming next year, which is only 2.5 days away, or 1.5 days away. But yeah, I'm just tinkering on those. I've actually been getting some current working jobs, kind of, not really at the moment. So that's going to take some priority right at the moment. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD or youtube.com/ScriptDoctor, and I will be having some content for you and some cool takes and some revisions and some rewrites of some of our favorite poorly executed media.
Thank you, my friend. Always glad to have you on here. And finally, Culture Casino.
Whoa, apparently I'm not allowed to have a camera. Let's try again. There we go. Hi. Do me a favor. Subscribe to everybody on this panel. The McCabe brothers are fantastic. Yeah, Script Doctor is a genius. You should be checking out all of his stuff.
I am not a genius, but I appreciate the compliment.
I think you are. Your Upper Decker reviews are amazing. I love those. And you know, you're able to break things down for people in a very clear way. Things that they may not have thought of, that they can't understand why this show offends them or this movie offends them, and you are able to spell it out for them. And I think that's lovely and brilliant. Do subscribe to our friend Finaldeathstar or ETU or whatever he's calling himself right now, because he's wonderful. Despite the fact that he's very aloof with the rest of us, he sometimes he'll show up places, usually late, or the show will start and then he'll pop in. I mean, he's just, he's our diva, or kind of. Although right now, maybe Steven's our diva. I don't know. Where is Steven?
He hates me.
Where is Steven?
Oh, I think he's busy working.
I don't think that's what he's doing. He's working something. He ain't working a job. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So beyond that, that's an inside baseball, guys. So there's reasons behind that statement. But beyond that, guys, thank you so very much. This year, 2020 was a complete garbage fire around the world. And one of the reasons that we have a flaming trash can for the dump is a decision that I made when Scott and I were talking about the show. And it's because we are a flaming trash fire. This year has been that way. We like to call out the flaming trash fire, and that's what happened. I hope 2021 is better. I'm going to try to be optimistic, but knowing what I know, we have another hard year in front of us that we are just going to have to fight even that much harder. So thank you for your support through that fight. You guys are the ones that did it, not us. We are here talking heads, flapping our gums at cameras. Without you guys, none of this would get anywhere. So thank you so very much for your support across all of these various channels. And do check your subscriptions, because I was unsubscribed from 4 channels the other day, and I figured it out, here in the last couple of days. So check those, because if you haven't seen somebody's content for a while, they didn't stop making it. You just got unsubscribed. So anyway, Have a lovely new year, guys. Take care of yourself and take care of others. Thank you, Scott, for having me on so many times. I appreciate you, my friend. And like I said, I mean, just check out Machiny 90. The one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. Great draw streams, incredibly talented artist, and the person that I want to push really hard on getting to monetization this year. I've got 4 people right now that I'm just going to lean on and put my elbow in their back and try to get them over the finish line. So thank you guys so much. Have an amazing year, or end of the year, guys, and I will see you in 2021.
Thank you, brother. So first, the person I'm pushing to get monetized is one of my first friends here on YouTube, and that's Finaldeathstar. We need to get him over the hump. You're not at 1,000 yet, are you, my friend?
No, I'm at 774 or 775.
Criminal. Guys, make sure you are subscribed to him. First of all, he's doing content that I love, which is ancient civilizations, aliens, all that good stuff. So please, biblical stuff, which I find so interesting. So please, guys, make sure you guys support him. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribed. If you are, share out his link. Also, Steven sent me a text I missed. He sent it 2 hours, 20 minutes ago, in traffic trying to get home. So God, that traffic must have been horrible.
Wow.
Hope everything's okay, Steven.
Scott, sorry to interrupt.
Okay. No, of course. I interrupted.
No. No, one thing I wanted to mention, Culture Casino private chat. Guys, please just show some support and subscribe to the Joe Rogan of Rogue Entertainment, the Joe Rogan of the Phantom Menace West Movie webcast. Let's get him monetizing over that. And if you guys can, let's see if we can try to get Friday Night Tights to shout out Final, to get him over that
time.
Give him that push.
Hey, you're right. Shout out Final. Jesus, man. It's about time. I'm just kidding. Shout me out again. I don't care about Final. No, I appreciate Final. Final's one of the best dudes out there. So thank you, my friend. We're going to close this one up. I don't know. The year to come, the channel might make some changes. I don't know if I'll be streaming 3 times a week. I might go down to 2 and make more videos because the growth has slowed. If you guys like the Wednesday ones, let me know on Twitter or in the comments for this. Maybe I'll keep Wednesday. I don't know. But I really like to thank you all for a great year. We'll have our show on Saturday so I can do the corny thing. See you next year. And I hope you're all safe. This goes out to all my channel members. And
did you just call me corny?
No, I called everybody corny.
Oh
no, not you. You were that was delightful when you said it. So this one's for all my channel members, and we're gonna add you to it, Riff. Thank you for becoming a channel member tonight. Thank you for the $10 super chat, and thank you for the Doomacock culture. And this is for you guys. Let's put a spork in it because we are done.
All right, Riff Magos, you're going to see this spot here, right underneath Stephen Walton. That's where your spork is going to go.
That's where he's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then as you add more people, they'll slowly scroll up in the future. So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. We're getting there. Look at all those people. Good night, everybody. Wash your